Hi guys, it's me again, and I'm here today to talk to you about the first category of apps that we want to talk to you about, which are social networks. And you may be like, why should we talk about social networks? Don't we all know what they're useful for? Yes, of course, and that's why when I was writing this exact article, I thought to myself, well, Marta, this is not going to be very useful for anyone. And yeah, that's why I decided to change a little bit the point of view for this article, and instead of telling you which social networks you should download on your phone, I wanted to create a space or like a community where we can talk about the pros and the cons about socials. And I think, especially during this period of time, there are a lot of things we should talk about. I entered the socials world when I was 13, when my mom let me download Facebook for the first time. And I was on the phone with my best friend, and we were registering and putting our photos. And for the first time in my life, I was thinking about what other people would think of me putting that photo online. And from that moment on, this thought, this feeling of judgment from others that I maybe don't know, stuck with me, and I'm still here wondering about that each day I post something on any socials I have. So this can be difficult, especially for younger people, because let's take for example our parents. They may have Facebook, they may have Instagram, but when they downloaded those apps, they were already grown-ups. Personality was already formed. They didn't have to think about what other people would think of them growing up. And I think that's something our generations and the generations ahead will be thinking about growing up. And the fact that we grow up with the constant thought about what other people would think of us, that's something our parents and the older generations did not grow up experiencing, and I think they will never understand those feelings. But don't get me wrong, I am a fan of socials. I think social media has the greatest possibilities. They have so much power about sharing awareness and positivity, and communities creating, supporting each other. So I'm one of the biggest supporters of socials. I wouldn't be standing here if I wasn't. So as I said, I wanted to talk to you about the pros and the cons about social media. We all know the basics. We all know why social medias can be good and why they can be bad. But for example, did you ever thought about how the new social medias, for example like TikTok or the Reels on Instagram, they are tools so powerful because anyone can become a content creator if they want to. They give each and every user sort of the same possibilities. They put everyone on the same level. If you're already famous, yes, you are going to have an advantage. But if I make great videos and I'm no one, I could become the new famous TikToker. So I think this is very important because everyone can become someone. And if you really want to, you could put your work into socials and that could become your job. So I think this is a great pro about social medias, and especially the new ones. And another thing I think it's very cool about socials is that you could talk literally about anything, or you could look for any sort of information and you would find it, because if you have a specific interest, you could look online and you could find someone else somewhere in the world who has your exact interest and you could talk about it. Like, that's crazy. You could start a YouTube channel about hair, about makeup, about sport, about anything you like, and I'm sure you will find someone else in some place of the world who would have the same interests in you. That's crazy. I think that's crazy. So social media has a lot of great aspects, but there are a couple of things that are not so good. And the first thing for me, for example, are the comments, the negative comments you can receive. like from strangers who take 30 seconds of their day and write something bad about you, and they could ruin your whole day just because they wrote like, I think you're fat, or your hair is crazy, or anything bad about you, and that would ruin your day. And it took them 30 seconds to write that. I think social medias give anyone the chance to say what's on their mind, and that's not always a good thing, because we should be trained to spread positivity and not negativity. But I think comments are there and bad people exist, so that's not a great combination. So I think that's a little bit of con about socials. Another thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about enough is the fact that nowadays, I'm talking by experience, I seem to not be able to do like one thing at a time. If I'm like unloading the dishwasher, I may be watching Netflix in the meantime, and that's not that bad. But when I'm watching a movie and I'm also scrolling on Instagram and texting my friends, these are way too many things to be doing at once. So my brain has constantly so many informations at once that it's going to be very hard to be doing something that it's like basically boring. For example, reading or studying is becoming so much harder for kids these days because they're constantly putting into all those informations, especially with the social media or with like television, that have so many interesting informations that their brain is not used to do something so boring like reading or studying. It's too much effort for the brain to be doing. Instead, they could be scrolling on socials, and that would be so much easier and so much more fulfilling for their brain in terms of informations received. So I think we have to be very careful, especially with younger kids, because if their brain is trained to have so many inputs at once, it's going to be so difficult for them to be doing regular stuff and not be so bored with life. I hope you liked this video. If you agree or if you don't agree, just comment down below what are your thoughts, and if you want to start a conversation, I'm here just for that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.